So if you could be here around 9, that would be great. Okay?
Well, listen here.
Hello, and welcome to 90 Day Fiance Okay. I'm Mr. O, and today, Miss H and I will be discussing Season 8, Episode 12 of 90 Day Fiance. In this episode, Zied moves the wedding timeline up because of Ramadan. Natalie makes an apology as step 1 towards getting her ring back. Yara wonders why everyone at Mardi Gras dresses like it's an orgy party. Harris steps seamlessly into Ryan's spot. Andrew and Amira finally bring in a lawyer. Tarik has a terrible plan to score a better girlfriend for he and Hazel. And Brandon is less excited about wedding dress shopping than even me. As always, we'll end with our Students of the Week, class dances, and life lessons. If you like what you hear, please support us by leaving a 5-star rating and subscribing. And if you also watch Love After Lockup, you should listen to our other podcast, Love After Lockup Okay. Okay, thanks for listening, stay safe, and enjoy.
Hello, Mr. O.
Hello, Miss H.
How are things?
Things are doing pretty well. I don't know, every once in a while you feel a little bit of hope, and I feel like I'm hoping we can see the end of the tunnel of this whole garbage year that is coming up.
I know. And it's so crazy that it's the anniversary of all of this kind of starting to go down the way it has.
But I just feel like every day I hear more and more people that I know are getting their vaccines.
Yes.
And, the cases are going down. It just seems like good news is right around the corner. So I'm pretty pumped about that.
Speaking of good news, who do we have that actually has good news this week? Oh, gosh. Pretty much no one, I guess. Well...
Brandon and Julia wasn't terrible news.
Yeah, let's talk Brandon and Julia. So Betty is showing Julia how to make a lasagna, and the whole family is having an outdoor dinner. Ron is asking how COVID is affecting Brandon's work. Brandon tells us that people are rescheduling, but he's considered essential, so he's still working. He tells us how a lady was following him around the house, spraying everything down, disinfecting everything. Brandon thinks things will be flexible given the situation, and he's referring to the visa process and when that's going to happen. And Ron says rules are the rules, so he needs to do what he can. Julia really wants to get married in a church because in Russia, it's good luck for the marriage. Brandon tells Betty that they're going to go wedding dress shopping. Betty basically invites herself along because she says that moms usually go. And since Julia's mom isn't there and Betty has no daughters of her own, she insists that, she should be there. Julia is hesitant because she doesn't want Betty to impose her opinion on her. Julia says she was taking Brandon because he's her only friend there. Brandon and Julia go to meet Brandon's mom at a dress store. Julia doesn't feel like she has a choice, and she doesn't even really want Betty to be there. Betty gives them both a big hug. Julia picks out a couple of dresses, and Betty already has a dress picked out. Brandon tells us that this is okay. Julia is excited because this is the first day that it's just been about the wedding and their future. When Julia is getting dressed, Brandon tells his mom, "Listen, Mom, no comments or faces. She's to remain completely neutral." And Betty's kind of taken aback that she doesn't get any kind of say. Julia parades out in different dresses as they video chat her mom. Brandon seems incredibly uninterested as he takes his own advice and seems neutral about pretty much everything. He says they're all nice as Julia presses him to pick the one he likes. They leave as Brandon says he had a blast, but very flatly. All right, so do you think that Betty should be able to give her opinion on something, especially since Julia was asking for some kind of opinion?
Yeah, I thought the whole remain neutral was kind of crap. I get what he was going with. You need to read the room, and
right.
If she's super excited about a dress, don't crap all over it, please, Mom. But definitely, I haven't, having never done wedding dress shopping, but seen it a lot in the show now. People need enthusiasm. They need you to come out and be like, "Oh my God, you look so beautiful!" They need that. That's the whole point of the wedding dress shopping.
Wow, you have nailed it. I think you're ready, Mr. O. You're ready to go wedding dress shopping.
Right? But that's what it is. And you could tell she was just begging, just give me enthusiasm about something. So it should have been like, he should have been like, no negative energy. Positive energy only,
no
Mom.
negative energy. Right. But I think also what he was trying to prevent, and it kind of happened at the beginning, was just Betty being, I like this one. This is the one I like.
Yeah.
You know, and kind of imposing her opinion on Julia. Because, yes, I agree with Brandon. I don't think Julia would want that. But at the same time, Julia was kind of torn between a couple of dresses. So she was looking for something, someone's approval.
Yeah, so they were both like, no approval, no, nothing, don't say anything. You're going to say neutral faces, nothing. That is a dress. It is white. I see that as a top.
I wonder if Brandon truly doesn't have an opinion, or if he really was trying to take his own advice and be like, well, I want Julia to pick out the one that she likes and not to get one for me.
Yes, but it was like, but at the point where she's like literally asking, of those 3 dresses I just tried on, which one do you like the best? Because I like them all. Like, then that's when he could take it off. But I think, you know, because we talked about this, we've been doing this podcast for over a year now, right? And, you know, I can definitely speak from having been a 20, whatever, however old he is, 7-year-old guy. Like, you're just not trained to see the difference in that. And if this isn't something you kind of like actually considered thought of, he was just like, if you went, like you could have, and I said this, she could have left with one dress, said, I'm going to go put this dress on, come back in a different dress, and he would not have known.
Yeah, sure.
He wouldn't have noticed. Right. And so to him, they were like, yes, those all look like, I saw all 3 of those. And to me, they were all white dress. And so I really don't think he had a difference of opinion. He was like, none of them, like, I didn't look at any of them and go, yeah. So they passed my test. That's it.
But I would think that you would at least notice the way it fit her, because they all fit her like different ways and show different things. Like that first dress, I was not a fan of it at all.
I didn't like that keyhole thing in between her boobs.
Yeah. It was too deep. It made her boobs look super separate.
It also made them look super small.
Yes. But yeah, it was weird. I didn't like it. It made him look very weird. It kind of looked like weird, like paper mache, just like stuck on top of each one. And so I would think that, yeah, I get it. You don't really get the difference between the different dresses, but how it fits her figure, I would think you would at least notice or figure out something with that, have an opinion on that.
But you would have had to go in like, he just spent that whole time being like, because he has that teenager attitude, right? We say he probably mentally keeps sounding like a 15-year-old all the time.
That's definitely true.
Right? I just don't care. Are we done yet? I mean, he was smart enough to not do that, but you could tell mentally that's what he was doing. This is boring. Let me just pick a dress. Yeah. Right? And it was funny because she was like, I knew you were going to do this. I knew you were going to say, that one's fine. That one's fine. That was fine. She was like, I predicted this already. This is exactly what was going to happen.
I don't know if she predicted Betty, like, being a mute.
Yes. No. And that's what because she didn't see that conversation. Like, she didn't see that part. But, I mean, if I was her, that's better off because I would have predicted Betty being like, doing almost what she did. I would have predicted Betty having already picked out a dress, and then every dress I walked out in telling me why it wasn't as good as the dress she had picked out.
Yes, I can see that, definitely. Well, what about that first dress that I picked out?
Yeah, I just feel like we keep coming back to that first dress.
And you're like, no, you do.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it was nice that they brought her mom into it, though. Like, even if they couldn't talk to her at all. No, I mean, her mom, when they called her mom.
Oh, yes. That was nice.
And it was, like, funny because at least, the first time I've seen, at least Brandon knows some phrases in Russian. He's not complete. He knew, like, 2. He was like, he knew I don't understand, but that was about it. But it was like something.
At least he tried. Good for him.
He tried.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So let's go to, I don't know, somebody else who was trying to do a lot. Actually, a couple of people were trying. I'm just going to jump in with Stephanie.
Gosh, she's trying something.
I think she was trying a lot of things. Stephanie wakes up without her 27-year-old fiance Ryan around. because after what happened last episode, she says it's completely over. The producers seem to be trying to get her to encourage her to, like, don't you want to see him one last time and get some closure? But she says no. And then she sees a balloon that he had sent, either, I guess it came before, whatever. She, like, tried to step on it to pop it, and then she stabbed it with scissors. It was something. Then we see her primping and saying that she misses her cat more than she misses Ryan, but says she needs to see a friendly face, so she's going to meet with Harris. Then we get to meet Harris, who tried to give Stephanie a coconut the first time they met, is his story. He tells us his side of what he heard about of what happened that night. She called at midnight the night before, and so he hopped on a 7-hour trip for his booty call.
Wow.
Harris listens to her problems and says that Ryan was the wrong way for her to go. She invites him to stay with her for a few days in the room until she goes back to Michigan. When she's talking to him and in the interview, she seems, let's say, out of it. And then she settles in to basically seems like she's just changing this to a trip where she bangs Harris instead of banging Ryan.
God.
So what is it about Harris that you think she trusts right now?
He's a man. He has a face. He's there. He can go outside.
He wasn't even there. He just decided he could make himself there.
Yeah. Honestly, just everything about this screams desperation to me.
Yeah.
And it's not a good look for Stephanie. It really isn't. I find it really interesting how she could go from one extreme to the next with Ryan. How do you go from loving someone to hating them within such a split second? I feel like one of the two emotions aren't real if you're able to go there so quickly. Either you don't really love them or you don't really hate them.
That sounds fair. I mean, that's what it seems like from their relationship. It always is her going to extremes.
Yeah.
Like always, this is not the first time he's heard "I hate you" from her, and it's over, and I never want to see you again, and this is it.
Yeah.
Like not the first time.
Yeah. Fuck off and die is what she likes to say,
yes.
right?
Fuck off and die. Yes. Which was like pretty extreme.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the one that's there, but I don't even know. It really did seem like she was like, well, not getting that dick. Gotta get some dick. Like, let's call this guy now.
Yeah. And 7 hours, is that even still in Belize? Like, Belize isn't that big.
You know how Belize is not that big.
Yeah.
But you know how, like, travel can go. It's like...
Yeah, the rural roads.
Yeah.
Long and windy.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like, even in, like... I know it's even in, like, when I lived in North Carolina, it was like when I wanted to get from Raleigh to the Outer Banks, it was like, there's no straight road that goes there. You could get to Charlotte, which is, like, twice as far away, quicker, because the roads aren't as good, right? It's totally a thing now, and especially with a boat ride involved, too. So I don't know what's all going on, but... definitely super suspicious that he's like, she calls him, he drops everything and shows up, and she's like, I'm going to go back to Michigan. And he was like, I would go back to Michigan with you if that's what it took to keep you like safe. It's like, I don't think this guy has her best interest at heart.
No, everything about it was super shady. I also found it was super annoying. Like, we're not dumb over here, right? Let's not pretend that you just need a comforting friend.
Yes, I needed to see a friendly face.
Right, and then get all dolled up, and then the way she hugged him, how she was like closing her eyes and like just really feeling him. It's like, come on, you're not fooling anyone. You know that, right?
Right, nobody. No, he wasn't, least of all him. He knows exactly what's up and exactly what he's there for. Can we talk about, though, how she was clearly on something, right?
She definitely seemed out of it. But at the same time, she's like one of those people that's a huge wino. So I would not be surprised if she's super drunk, especially if she's staying in like an all-inclusive villa kind of situation.
If it's just drunk. I mean, she also seems like the kind of person who has just like always has Xanax in her purse.
She definitely falls into like that stereotype, like bored housewife types, but she's a working woman, so I don't really know. Could go either way.
But I feel like this might be her like vacation. It's like, and Ryan stressed her out so much.
Oh,
like,
sure.
She seemed so, and it didn't quite strike me as drunk. Maybe it's the way she is drunk, but it struck me as being more than drunk. Like the way she could barely keep her eyes open or focused on anything. Like it was, and then she was super slurring her speech.
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah. Also, the kind of decisions she was making, like her lipstick purse.
Yeah. What? I mean, she had to make that decision beforehand. She brought that with her. Like that
she did. But that kind of goes, it matches her lip purse that she had the other time.
But it's definitely like, aren't those purses made for like 16-year-olds? Isn't that who's supposed to buy those purses?
I don't know. It's like that one episode of Sex and the City where Big bought her like that gigantic jeweled swan purse or something like that. It's like, I feel like they are expensive and they're meant for adults, but I don't know what adult actually carries those things around. I feel like she's graduated to where she should have a Birkin bag like all the time, right? She's rich. She's like, that's where she should be. Yeah. All right. Let's move on to Rebecca and Zied. So it is currently March 2020, and Zied is confused by the dishwasher, which then turns into wonderment. He loves the dishwasher.
He knew it was working because it made noise.
Yes.
And he could hear it turn on.
And he was excited about it. He says he misses his family, and with COVID, he says that Rebecca is working more since she works at a drive-thru, which is an essential service. Zied says he is very bored at home, but Rebecca has a surprise planned for him on her day off. Rebecca rented a cabin, so he gets a chance to get out of the stupid apartment. Zied, though, says it's not stupid. Rebecca also wants to take a look at a wedding venue while they're there. They get to the venue, and Rebecca and Zied take a tour in a carriage pulled by a horse named Pendragon. Rebecca hopes that Zied will get excited about planning the wedding after touring the grounds. Zied seems easy to please, and he likes it, but he is concerned about how COVID will affect the courts. Zied wants to get married at the courthouse because it will just be easier. Rebecca's disappointed because even though it is her third wedding, it feels like it's her first. I'm not really sure how, but she wants to make it special. They check out their cabin that has a fireplace and a jacuzzi. Zied is having fun trying to light a fire. They sit down and Rebecca really pressures him about getting married there at the resort. Zied points out that they have a tight timeline because he can't get married during Ramadan. This is the first Rebecca's hearing about this, and now the timeline looks different, and it means that the wedding has to happen pretty much in the next few weeks. Rebecca says no because it's not what she wants. Zied is trying to explain to her the timelines, and Rebecca tells him to stop yelling at her. Rebecca asks why she's just hearing about this now. He doesn't really give her a straight answer, but asks her what does she want him to do in this situation. Rebecca didn't want to rush this because her ex from Morocco, who we're hearing about again, and her had gotten married very quickly, and he ended up being a completely different person as soon as they got married. So she wanted to drag this out and get married, as late as possible, according to their timeline. All right, so Zied, it's a good reason. I'm not saying it's not, but why do you think this is the first we're hearing about Ramadan?
Good question. His explanation seemed to be like, I didn't know I was going to get the visa 2 weeks before Ramadan started. Mm-hmm. Like, he was like, who knew when this visa was going to happen? But, and especially when, I don't know that his plan was, because I think it wasn't a big deal for him. If we're just going to go down to the courthouse, fine, we'll just do it before Ramadan.
Yeah,
like,
that makes
who cares?
sense.
Like, it's not a big deal. It wasn't until she was like, well, I want to have a real wedding because it's my fourth wedding and it's going to be my last wedding.
Oh my gosh.
I can't see, everybody can't see how I rolled my eyes when I did that.
Right. That's like the Madonna song, Like a Virgin, right?
Yes. Well, especially because I'm sitting here and I'm like, I've been married and I'll probably get married again. Who knows? Maybe, maybe not, actually. But like when I do, I don't care. Like whoever I get married to can dictate the wedding. I'm fine with the courthouse. I'm fine with whatever.
I think that too. Like I would feel like in your position that you would, especially if the person you're marrying hasn't been married before.
Yes.
Like you would want it to be more about what they want because they haven't experienced that before. And you're just kind of like, I don't really care about the wedding itself. It's more about like being married to another person. So it's kind of like, I don't know, Rebecca, you've had 3 other times to get this quote right. Like in terms of just the wedding. I think really maybe more of the focus for you should be the marriage part because clearly that's where it's failing.
Right. Maybe the wedding part was like, maybe focusing too much on the wedding part was a thing before. Like, and so, yeah, but you know what I'm saying? He just assumed, whatever, it's her 4th wedding. She's not going to need a big ceremony. And all of a sudden she's like, well, I need a big ceremony. And he was like, well, if that's the case, then I'm just telling you we can't get married in this block of time that's coming up. Because, I mean, it just, I don't know. I think he was as taken aback that she wants a real wedding as anybody else was.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I need the whole story too. Like, how hard would it be to have it at the resort? Could they have it at the resort in the next couple weeks? Because if this truly is March 2020 and, you know, Zied is just thinking like it's just going to be easy if it's me and Rebecca and we just go down the courthouse. Quite honestly, how is that any different from getting married at the resort? Because if you can't have crowds of people anyway, it'll end up just being a few people involved. And so why not have it there? And they probably are getting a ton of cancellations.
So that's another thing, too, is we kind of know, like, there isn't going to be a time in his 90 days, Ramadan or not, that they're going to be able to have a real wedding. We already know. We know this. Like, it's the dramatic irony that's built into it.
Why isn't Rebecca figuring this out? Because they're even saying she's working a lot more because of the current situation.
Right. But I don't know. I think there were some people who were just, some people, I don't know, fooling themselves. I don't know what I thought back then, but I think there's people who are like, oh, whatever. Mid-April, mid-May, we'll be back at work.
Well, we all thought, remember, it feels so naive now. Flatten the curve. We haven't heard that phrase in a really long time. But we all thought like, oh, we just have to do this for like 2 or 3 weeks. It'll be fine.
Yeah. All right. A month or 2. Yeah. I mean, I say that, but I definitely, no, it was still in March. I thought we would go back to school before the end of the school year. It wasn't probably until March or early April that I was like, until like spring break when I was like, oh no, we're not going to go back to the school year for the rest of the school year at all.
Yeah, I think I probably didn't really feel like we weren't going to go back until the end of April.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because things were getting, it was because I think my realization that, you know, it wasn't going to go back to normal really quickly is, and it's gotten better since, but remember at the beginning how people were so non-compliant with doing anything that to them felt like was taking away. You can't make me wear a mask. You can't make me hand sanitize. You can't take my temperature. You can't do any of these things. And people were just like traipsing around, like doing whatever.
I feel like that hit in the summertime. I feel like, first of all, and that, to be honestly, where I am, and that never hit here.
Oh,
like,
gosh.
We do not have any non-compliance here. We are here. It's definitely, well, I mean, I live outside of Washington, D.C. Everybody works for the freaking government. Nobody in Maryland is like, the government can't tell me what to do. They're like, dude, the government pays my bills. Like, well, of course they can tell me what to do. Sure. They tell me I can't, if you work at, there's huge government agencies. Half the people I talk to can't even talk about their jobs. Like, the government pays the bills. So everybody, there's that attitude just doesn't exist here like it does in other places. I don't know. I kind of liked her. I think she kind of looked, Rebecca surprisingly looked good in that weird Carmen Sandiego hat she was wearing.
Oh, yeah.
She had a whole Carmen Sandiego get up. And I was like, it's a little weird, but it works for her.
Yeah, I mean, I will never hate on Rebecca for looking good. And looking good for her age. I mean, sure. But I think where the hate kind of comes in, and I'm not saying just me, like, is let's not lie to ourselves and pretend we look like this completely different filtered person.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
You know, and that's where it really comes from. Because, I mean, there's nothing wrong with how she looks. And if she's being honest about her age, which she is, it's like you can't really expect some 40-something-year-old woman to look like she's 21. It's just not happening.
Right. All right. So let's go on to... let's do Mike and Natalie.
Oh, gosh. So depressing.
I know. That's why I stuck it in the middle.
Yeah.
Natalie is reeling after her and Mike's conversation on the beach when he said he doesn't even consider them to be engaged anymore. She says she's not ready to leave America yet and is calling her friend Svetlana for advice. First, they check in about COVID, which is starting to rear its head. But then they move on quickly to Natalie's relationship problems, which actually, can we go back? Because she was weird, because she's like, well, it hasn't gotten here yet. And I was like, wasn't like Washington State the first place that it was?
I was like, yeah, I thought it was in Washington first. I thought Washington was the first state to start doing anything.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, she again rehashes the whole Mike staying with his best friend in the wedding situation. It almost admits that the problem is that she's jealous, but instead that it makes her uncomfortable. She tells Svetlana that she thinks Mike is still mad at her for giving back the ring, and she hasn't gotten it back yet. Based on Natalie's interpretation of the story, Lana wonders if he's just playing with her. Svetlana wonders if maybe Natalie is moving too fast. So Natalie comes to the decision that she's going to forgive and forget so that they can start to rebuild. Natalie says that Svetlana is very wise. She tells us she's going to work on her trust issues on her side. Even though Mike hasn't given the ring back, she is going to trust him anyway. So soon, Natalie interrupts Mike randomly hatcheting some wood to sit down for yet another conversation, which he seems to be getting pretty tired of because of all the dwelling in the past. She wants to take Svetlana's advice and slow down. First, she'll build the trust, then she'll get the ring. She apologizes for her part in the argument the other night and promises to let the past go this time and not to mention it again. Mike is surprised that she apologized. She wants to start with a blank slate and move forward towards their goals. It's basically exactly what Mike wanted to hear, so he's feeling pretty good as they share a kiss, even though it like crinks his neck to try to do it. Mike hopes she means what she says, but seems a bit skeptical that she won't be able to keep her word. So, my question to you is, how long do you think Natalie can keep this whole thing up before she starts asking to get the ring back again?
And before she starts asking about the ring or asking about the girl?
Asking about the ring. Like, before, like, I think she's trying to be like, well, maybe if I take it slow, he'll decide to give me the ring back. So how long is it before she's going to be like, so I've been really good. Where's my ring?
Yeah, this is not lasting long. She is good. And in her defense, I would be super concerned too. If you're looking down at, okay, I have 30 days left in this country.
30 days left. Jeez.
You know,
yeah.
And if she's thinking about like the sequential order of events, right? She has to get a ring before she's considered engaged, and then they can like solidify their wedding plans. Like you know, it's scary if you're like, I have to solidify my wedding plans in less than 30 days, and the longer the ring part is taking, the shorter amount of time I have to get this wedding together. So I mean, logistically, it's like I feel like she's only saying that because she wants it to happen today. And when it doesn't happen today, you know, tomorrow she's going to be asking for the ring again because she's like, well, that strategy didn't work.
Right. Yes. She's looking for like this magical, like, combination of words that gets her ring back immediately.
Yeah.
Like, oh, congratulations, you've hit the jackpot. That was what I was supposed to say. Because, I mean, she basically parrots to him exactly the things that he was saying to her. At least she's smart enough to do that, right? Oh, let's let the past be in the past. She's like, I agree with that. It's like, yeah, you agree with it. You said it like 40 times yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know. I get his skepticism because he didn't really seem like he was super sold on this whole idea. But I mean, I feel like I would also be suspicious of, okay, we've been fighting about God knows what for the last 60 days. All of a sudden you've done a complete turnaround. Yeah,
all of a sudden she just gives me, it says just agrees exactly with what I've been saying the whole time. Like, I'd be very skeptical she means what she says. Right. And even if she does mean what she says right now, I'd be very skeptical she could maintain that.
Yeah. Speaking of being skeptical to maintain, let's talk about Yara and Jovi. So Yara and Jovi are still at Jovi's parents' house. Jovi asks if Yara's still mad at him, and she says, of course. But Jovi has no idea why she would be mad, or at least he says. She tells him that it's because he left her alone, and he just rolls his eyes. Jovi says that he doesn't get to see his friends and family very often just because of his job, and every time he looked over at her, she looked like she was having fun, so he thought everything was okay. Yara is concerned that he will always treat her like that. She blames it on his drunkenness, but he claims that he wasn't even drunk. Yara says he needs to stop drinking at least for the duration of her pregnancy. Yara says that if this is what her life is going to be like, she doesn't want to stay here. Jovi doesn't think there's anything wrong, and he's confused why she is mad and upset. He just stares at her blankly. Yara asks him if drinking is so important to him, and she tells him that if he's going to be a good father and a partner, he can drink on special occasions, but not every day. He says he will try and will drink a little bit less. They then join Jovi's parents in the kitchen, and Yara is trying to put on a happy face for the sake of his parents. Yara lies and says that she had fun last night. His parents process the pregnancy news. Gwen is over the moon, and Monty fears that if things don't work out, they may not see the baby. Jovi says that the baby is an oh shit moment, which annoys Yara. She thinks that he should have done more for birth control if that's what he really thinks of it. Yara reiterates that she just wants the wedding to be just her and Jovi. Gwen says that that's not cool, but Yara doesn't really care considering Gwen threw a giant engagement party against her wishes. Jovi says that the engagement party was a big deal, so that's what his mom gets, and he's going to do whatever Yara wants. Gwen is offended that she's not invited to the wedding. As soon as Yara leaves the room, she tries to get Jovi to invite her to the wedding. Jovi says he's not going to fight with Yara today. Monty wonders if the wedding is a good idea at all. They have to get married in the next 2 weeks since Jovi has a work trip and the visa will expire before he gets back. Yara says since they have been back from his parents, Jovi seems to be trying. He stays at home with her, and he even attempted to cook. They go to a mask store together where Yara is asking Jovi about Mardi Gras. Jovi says that they party before they start going to church. Yara asks him what the party is for, and Jovi can't really answer that. Jovi does tell her that it's about religion, and Yara wonders how getting drunk is part of a religion. Yara thinks the city is not for her or a family. Jovi says their lease is over in 9 months, so they just have to stay until then. Yara is here for Jovi, and she wants things to work out, but she wouldn't be here or want to live here if it weren't for him. Yara brings up that his friends are a bad influence on him. Jovi apologizes about the party and says that it won't happen again. Jovi asks if she still wants to get married, and she kind of laughs and says it looks like it, as Jovi then proceeds to manhandle her and licks her face. All right, do you think Jovi has really changed?
No, not at all. I think the whole time I did this, I have, very, very negative thoughts about Jovi.
Yes.
I kept feeling like he was like in his head, and I'm not in his head, but this is what it seemed like his head was. This is just her being pregnant. Pregnant people are crazy. Say whatever you have to do to shut her the hell up.
Yes.
Like that's what we're doing. Like she's just being crazy because she's pregnant. This is all because of pregnant. So whatever it takes to make her go away or be quiet or satisfy her, that's what I'm supposed to do. That's what I'm supposed to say. Move on. And then go ahead and do whatever I want to do after that.
Yeah. I did think it was encouraging, like she had mentioned that he was staying home with her, so he wasn't going out, and he was attempting to cook. So it seems like he is trying out this domesticated life at least, but I also wonder how long that's going to last. I don't know. I don't know how long he can keep this up.
Yeah, no, I don't either. I think he's like kind of, because I think he's going to keep it up. I think he can keep it up until he has to go on his work again. Mm-hmm. Right. But when he gets back from work, he just has that drive. I got to party now. I was at work for a month. Like that, and that's when it's going to be the hardest time, because it's like I definitely stuck out with me when he said, "Oh, I looked over and you looked like you were having a good time at the party at the very beginning," right? Because that's totally just the realm of a guy who hasn't ever had to worry about doing anything besides being a guy.
Right. Taking care of anyone else.
Thinking about anyone else. And it's just, it's that super common gender dynamic where, a woman in an uncomfortable situation, a party where she's not good, is still going to put on a good face.
Yeah.
She's still going to like at least passively look like she's having a good time. Whereas if Jovi wasn't having a good time, he would pout and whine. And you would know he wasn't having a good time because he was pouting the whole time, And he would
also say something. So the fact that Yara wasn't making a big deal and saying something there to him is like, oh, well, so there's nothing wrong.
Yeah. Like, oh, you look like you're talking to somebody. You're good to go. So, I mean, at least he's kind of getting through on that. But like, and I didn't even like it the way, like, I get that he's trying to defend her, but he's doing it worse You know, like when it comes up with the wedding, that part really bothered me when they were talking about this wedding that Gwen wants them to have that Yara doesn't want at all, right? And she leaves or whatever, and he's like, well, it's what she wants. I guess she's going to get what she wants. It's like, don't make it about her. Tell her it's what you want too.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that would make it much more powerful. That would get her off Yara's back if you would say, no, I actually think it's unfair to have a big wedding or have people there if her parents can't be there either. So this is also what I want, right? Take the heat from your mom. Like, don't say, oh, this is just what she wants. Oh.
Yeah, but I thought it was actually pretty good that Jovi actually defended at all, right?
Yeah.
He was like, Mom, you got your engagement party. That's it. You're done.
Yeah, it was better than nothing, but it was like C- effort. I feel like
I'd give it B-. Especially considering who we're dealing with here, especially considering our student Jovi.
Oh, that is true, but I don't know. There's certain standards you have to meet. Like, if you don't meet them, you don't get your standards-based grading here.
Sure.
I thought it was fun. I thought the mask scene, like, I thought I cracked up so much.
Yeah.
When she said the orgy club thing.
Oh gosh.
And it's like, but I'm with her. Like, it's like you say that this city is so important and so culturally thing, and you love this city. And I ask you like the most basic thing: why do people wear masks at the holiday your city is world renowned for? And he's like, I don't know, something about religion, I guess.
Oh my
Whatever.
gosh!
People
and
like
then
to go to church.
Like, I'm not religious, so.
But I just feel like that's the culture of the city, right? And she's right. What the culture of his city? He's like, I like show me your tits and the strip clubs and the drinking, like, and that's not the same thing.
That's not
so I can see what.
culture.
Yeah, exactly. That's not culture.
Yeah, ridiculous. Yeah, this guy.
All right. So, also ridiculous is Tarik and Hazel.
Oh gosh.
So bad. Okay, so even though they're helping Ari with her homework and planning a wedding, and COVID is happening, Hazel is preoccupied with finding the perfect girlfriend for her and Tarik.
Oh my gosh.
They set up a profile on a site for, I guess, like swingers and stuff, but things are progressing slowly. They're dealing with lots of ghosters and lots of catfish. Hazel says that, she wants a girlfriend not just for the sex, but she wants to have like a BFF and a sister as well. Hazel also has some strict ethnic requirements for this girlfriend because she thinks that Tarik is far too into Thai girls. So she's put a nix on all Asians. And then,
crazy. Frustrated
with their options, Tarik comes up with a solution that I think only makes sense to him.
Yeah, I was going to say.
They should ask Minty what to do.
No.
Because who knows better than her?
Makes no sense.
Hazel is frustrated because he seems to bring up Minty a lot. Even though he knows that she worries he has feelings for her. But bad ideas make good TV, so soon they're dialing up a video chat with Minty. Hazel says she just agreed to the call to figure out and see how flirty Tarik and Minty are with each other. Things get awkward quickly when Hazel doesn't like the way Tarik, quote, thinks she's all beautiful, and she refuses to even say hello. When he asks Minty for her advice, Minty says that Hazel's probably looking for something different than Tarik is, which they both kind of translate to mean Thai women. Minty tells us her version of everything that happened, which between the three of them, ending with Minty saying that if it wasn't for Hazel, she thinks she would be with Tarik instead. So Hazel and Minty give each other attitude for a while until Minty finally says, well, if you're looking for a girlfriend, why not me? Hazel immediately thinks that this was Tarik's plan all along, but based on the look on Minty's face, it was Minty herself who knew exactly what this comment would get. So she wanted to light the fuse anyway. Hazel nips it in the bud and says, no, she will not be our girl. And Tarik awkwardly ends the conversation saying that it was not productive.
Yeah, God, you think, Tarik?
After they're done, Hazel says that they shouldn't need to ask someone how to find a girl. You just wanted to talk to Minty. So now her trust level for Tarik has dropped. All right, so oh my God, I think this is a pretty layup answer. Do you buy Tarik's justification for wanting to call Minty here? Like, she'll help us get a new girl.
I don't think that that was really what's going to happen, right? How is your ex going to help you get a new person, right? That doesn't make any sense.
Take away the polyamory, right? If you're like, you're striking out on dating apps, how is your ex going to help you find somebody?
Right.
Exactly.
But if it was like, if you're saying, okay, maybe our ex could give us insight as to, you know, what we're doing wrong, that I think is a better question that could be answered by your ex, right? Like if I were to say, you know, like, oh, I wonder why my dating life isn't going so right, then I would talk to my exes and be like, so what exactly was the issue with dating me?
With
like why,
me
you know?
specifically, yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I can see that because it wasn't, I mean, the way he framed it, well, she'll help us find the right girl for us. Dude, you ain't getting any, there's not like you have options. They spent the entire first talk being like, nobody's messaging us, which is not surprising at all. You're looking in a pretty small city and like, so first of all, you're looking only for bisexual people, which cuts off what, 95% of everybody.
Yeah.
Right. And then with that, you want to have a bisexual person who is willing to be like the third wheel in a relationship, the outsider relationship, which my experience with bisexual people is they're not spoiled for choice in that. There's 1,000 people who are looking for that, you know, and like for everybody, it's like frustrating to bi people that they're like, oh, I get this all the time and it's not what I want. I want a relationship with a regular person. Most people do.
Yeah.
Most people are also not polyamorous. So like you're looking at a small city for a polyamorous bisexual. That's not a big pool of people.
No, definitely
and then
not.
You just get a bunch of catfish. But so you're not really, well, how can we filter this down and find the right girl for us? That's not your problem.
Right. And, you know, I think there are some things that Hazel just needs to hear, but I don't think she is in any kind of place to hear them. She came off really immature in this episode.
Sure.
Like, you can't even say hi to your ex, and just the way she like treated her, the way like she was so obviously jealous the entire time.
Yes.
There was no way she could hide that, you know? And it's like, I can only imagine if you're dating someone else, if you behave in the same way, like this is definitely an adult level type of relationship you're asking for. You cannot act like a child if you're asking for very adult things.
Yes. No, because you're not going to find someone who wants to be the girlfriend to both of you, but doesn't really like the guy all that much. You know? Because like that's what she's asked. She's gonna, anybody who shows any affection towards Tarik, she's gonna get super jealous.
Yeah.
Like, and that's not gonna work. Like,
yeah, because then Tarik would be like, well, what's the point in this? I don't want to be just the dude who's around while you guys are hooking up.
And let alone, like, that's what I'm saying. You're asking for a very adult thing. To ask for it the way she's asking for it, at the time she's asking for it.
Yes,
is
during your engagement.
too childish to make it work. You're engaged.
So bizarre.
Like, you're trying to plan a wedding. COVID is going on.
Yeah.
Like, all of those things are like, okay, if you need this, you're not taking an adult view on this at all. You're not. No. And so it's going to be impossible to have an adult relationship for those reasons. Exactly.
I think it's also really weird that she wanted to have this conversation so she could like get a vibe if she could trust Tarik.
Yeah, I don't understand because Tarik, the other thing that's Tarik is a friendly guy. Like he's an outgoing guy. He's going to have that kind of same way, hey, how's it going? You look great. Yeah. He's going to do that whether he's into you or not.
Yeah.
Right? And so I don't know how she's going to get that vibe because Minty is still really into Tarik.
Yeah, and I think the thing is that she wants to also be Tarik's number one. You know, she doesn't want Tarik like to really, it seems like to not really even be that attracted to the girlfriend. So it's like, so you want to date an ugly girl, but you also have to deal with the ugly girl, you know, like, so that just doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, I don't know what she's picturing in her head. I really don't, because she wants a hot girl that's into her that Tarik is cool with. I mean, that's what it seems like to me. Is Tarik is not particularly interested in the girl who's not particularly interested in Tarik, but she's really into Hazel, and everybody's fine with that scenario. And everybody's just cool and ready to go along. And it's like, that's ridiculously specific.
Yeah. Okay. Well, one thing that would, for me, being Tarik, seeing how Hazel treated Minty, I would be like, ooh, this is a really ugly side of you I don't like.
Yes. And this is a side of you that comes out when we have this girlfriend that you're pushing for. And it's not, I don't like it. Yeah, I don't like it.
All right. So as Tarik, I would be like, oh, maybe I'm not. Honestly, that to me would be such a turnoff. To see my partner behave this way, I would be like, oh, I'm really not that into you anymore, Hazel.
Right. Yeah. That's kind of like it's like, vibing on somebody and then you go out to eat and they treat the waiters like shit.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, not anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't envy Tarik in that situation. There's no way he's going to win.
There isn't because, it seems like he's only even going through all this just to appease her. I don't think he cares about the girlfriend at all.
No, I think at this point, probably not. Speaking of people who can't win, Amira. So Amira has been back in France for 2 weeks now. She goes to visit her dad, Hamdi. She is planning to go to Serbia, and she is there to tell her dad. Hamdi asks her how her job search is going. Amira tells him that she doesn't plan on staying in France, so she's not looking for a job. She's going to go meet up with Andrew. Hamdi tells her that it's a mistake, and he doesn't want her to be detained again. He is concerned that Serbia has a mafia and they just don't respect human rights. Hamdi insists that she doesn't do anything else to take any more risks. He doesn't care about Andrew because he thinks that Andrew won't sacrifice anything for her, so why should she sacrifice anything for him? He questions why Andrew didn't try to get her from the detention center and points out that he stayed on his vacation the entire time. He says that Andrew is a selfish coward, and if he really loved her, he would wait for the situation to be safe for her. Hamdi doesn't want her to suffer. Amira says that she put her dad through a nightmare. Hamdi puts his foot down and says that if she leaves the country during this time, he will not talk to her again. Andrew video calls Amira and shows her his mug of his mug. Andrew is aware of Hamdi's ultimatum. Andrew has made an appointment with an immigration lawyer to get answers to see how safe their plan really is. The immigration lawyer asks what Amira told the Mexican immigration officers when she attempted to enter Mexico, and she said she was there to meet her fiance, which likely raised suspicions. The lawyer suggests that she tell them that she is on vacation the next attempt that they have, and that she will be going through to America. She also says that they will likely be able to extend their visa through reissuance. Andrew says that the lawyer validated everything he thought. I know, gosh, I hate this guy. And he knew going to Serbia would work. Amira says she's scared about the travel, but she's also scared about his resentment if she doesn't go. She would rather do the reissuance, but wants reassurance from Andrew that he would be okay with that. Andrew is getting defensive and thinks she's blaming him for what happened in Mexico. She is very careful not to blame him, but she just wants reassurance that he will be okay with her not going to Serbia. He says that he's just getting frustrated. He tells her that she should just contact him if he wants to go to Serbia, and he hopes that he hears from her soon. How did you perceive or interpret how Andrew left things?
Not well. I mean, it's similar to okay, when the things were going on, right? And he got in touch with her and she texted him or whatever. I got my phone back. Finally, I'm on a plane. And then he didn't call her for 2 days.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell is that?
Yep.
And this is the same thing. I think he gets frustrated and kind of goes off communication. It's like, well, fine. Well, the ball's in your court now. You tell me when you made a decision. Fine.
Yes. That's how I took it too.
And it's just, I thought he was super ugly the whole time. My opinion of Andrew has never been high.
I know. I was going to say, how can it get worse? But yeah, here we are.
Certainly not moving up even a little bit. Really, really garbage. I really, really don't like this guy so much.
I don't either. He's so terrible. He got super defensive. I think she was careful, and she had to be careful because I do think she blames him.
That's why I feel so bad for her. She has to watch every word she says because he uses her words like weapons. And it's not even her first language.
Yeah. but he got super defensive. And then just the way he left it, like him saying, you know, like, well, contact me if you want to go to Serbia. And so to me, that almost implies don't contact me if you don't want to go to Serbia.
Right. Yeah.
It's like the thing that's not being said.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's so fake.
He is.
And that's what bothers me is like the one that got me is as soon as the lawyer got on, he was like, oh, hey, we really appreciate you logging on for us. It's like he just sounded so fake. Even like saying, hi, thanks for meeting with us sounds fake from him. And it is fake because he's putting on a facade. Because I feel like there was a couple times during that conversation where you could see it drop. And you could see him get like super pissed. Like especially when the lawyer said something about like, oh, well, you probably said something about the fiance. You could see in his eyes, he was like, it was her fault.
Yeah.
Like, you could just, he didn't say it, but I could see it. You just see his face. And when she brought up the, I'd rather do the reissuance, he's like, he just flashes, just like that micro, you know, that people make those micro faces.
Yeah.
I totally felt those from him where he was like, and then here's the other dead giveaway. When he says baby, he is not being genuine.
Oh, no. No, definitely not.
Like, that's a dead giveaway. As soon as he, well, baby, I mean, if you, baby, want to do that, baby, then you can, I guess, baby, do the reissuance, baby. It's like, oh, the more he says baby, the less he means exactly what he's saying.
Yeah, I really get that this person is very aware that he is on television. And
yes.
I think that he thinks that this will somehow make him either, if it doesn't work out with Amira, somehow more desirable. Like, you know, because look at how much attention Colt gets, and it's Colt, right?
Yeah.
So I think he kind of thinks like, well, if things go south with Amira, at least I'll get some kind of cult-like following here. And so he's like, all I have to do is refrain from being a total asshole. Okay, so I feel like that's why everything he does to me reads as really fake as well, is because he's trying to project that he's this great guy, this gentleman, this person who really loves his partner.
I mean, he is a textbook nice guy.
Ugh, there's things about him there. He definitely sets off my creepo alarm.
The meme of nice guy isn't actually nice guys. It's the creepers who like are like, but I'm so nice. I'm a nice guy. Like, that's definitely him. And I just feel like it's not going to work for him. Like, I feel like Colt has this weird, like, dirtbag vibe for him that some weird people get into. He doesn't have that. He just has creep, controlling creep. Like, and I just, really don't like this guy.
Yeah.
Because her dad was 100% right the whole time. Everything he said was 100% right. I
cannot believe she's still trying to make this happen. I really like Amira, but I think there's something like fundamentally wrong with her that she's like still continuing to be like, oh, I want to be in this relationship. Like, you are a willing participant.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely feels like, I don't know, well, I mean, because that was it too, because it feels like there's either something wrong with her at some level, whether he did it to her or not, like in far of his manipulating and controlling and making her feel terrible. But like when she talked to her dad, he said, I knew he would get into her head. Yeah. And convince her not to go to Syria. It's like, oh my God. Ugh, the worst.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of this guy. It'll be interesting to see our power rankings.
Right.
All right. So who was your student of the week?
Julia, I guess.
Yeah, this was a tough week.
Yeah, I mean, Julia. I always feel like she's definitely one. Like, usually we go Julia or Yara if we don't have somebody to give it to, right? Yeah. And I just feel like Yara was coming on a bit strong with some of the things that she was going on. So I was like, I mean, not that I blame her, but I thought Julia handled her frustrations a little bit better.
Yeah. So I actually had Brandon as my student of the week. For as much as that guy like could not put on like a face like he wasn't bored, the fact is, at the end of the day, is he went wedding dress shopping with her, and he really tried to protect her from his mom by trying to, you know, get his mom on the okay, no opinions page. I mean, I don't know if Julia had told him to say that to his mom, but I really felt like it was a good move on his part.
Yeah, it could have been a little bit of a better message, but it was still an intervention to protect like Julia that he made. Sure. I can see that.
All right. What about your dunce?
It's Andrew. So I feel like it's out because when he said the part where he was like, the lawyer totally validated everything I said,
My gosh.
I literally started flicking off the TV. And I was like, okay, if the guy is making me flip off the TV, like probably the class dunce.
Yeah, it was very annoying and angering as I felt the same way. My dunce I put this week is Tarik. Like, he is putting himself in an unwinnable situation here. And I have no idea what he really thought to gain out of his conversation with Minty. Because how is she helping you find a girlfriend? Unless you're trying to get Minty to be the girlfriend.
Right. Which, I mean, he's not so dumb that he thought that would work, right?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I didn't
And
think
he should
so
have
either.
seen straight off the bat Hazel is being rude. She won't even say hi. Just being like, hey, it's nice to see you. Maybe this wasn't a good idea. Yeah, sorry for wasting your time. You should just cut it off
because
there.
I know Minty took the call. Minty took the call because she wants to break him up.
Yeah. I know. Makes sense to me. All right. What about your life lesson?
All right. So mine goes to Mike and Natalie. And goes with, if you're going to apologize, apologies should only be done for their own sake, because you actually are sorry and not as some sort of step in a plan to get what you want. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like if I tell him I'm sorry, then we can move on and I can get my ring back, instead of actually being like, I think I was wrong to be so hung up on that, and I truly, genuinely regret that I did that and would like to apologize. That was not what she was doing.
Yeah, definitely not. That's a good one. All right, so my life lesson is really directed towards Stephanie. Jumping in bed with someone, just for comfort right after a breakup is a setup for an even bigger emotional letdown. It's like the people who do like those rebound relationships and things like that.
Sure.
When you have a quick rebound, what I've found is that it really just compiles into a bigger loss when that's over.
Right, because then you get rejected from that, and now you're dealing with being rejected twice at the same time.
Right. So it's just like, give yourself some time. Like, for someone who claims to have never wanted to be married before, been okay with being single, she seriously seems to have something where she can't be alone. Yeah,
that was unusual because of that. Because she's like, I've never been married, never thought I would ever get married. So you would think she, after the first long-term relationship, her first real long-term relationship broke down, she'd be like, I tried that, it sucked. Let me go back to what I was doing before.
Right. Yeah. So I feel like in a lot of ways, maybe she is treating this like a teenager because she hasn't had serious relationships, ones that she's really emotionally invested. I kind of doubt that. I'm a little skeptical that she has never thought she wanted to marry anyone.
Yeah, I definitely. Yeah, that seems nuts. Like the idea of it, she didn't even have the idea. Like, not even a person that I was with that I was like, we might get married one day, but like never thought maybe one day I'll settle down and get married. Like, she's like, no, that never even entered my head. Like, that seems unlikely.
It seems unlikely given how old she is, and it's not even the age so much as like, well, how long have you been dating? I mean, I think it's fairly safe to say you've probably been dating for a good 25 years.
At least.
Yeah.
Like, she's what, 55?
Oh, I thought she was 40 something. But okay, no. So maybe a good
like
30 years?
Yeah.
30 plus years, and you've never met anyone that you've been like, oh, maybe I could see myself marrying this person.
Yeah.
That just seems statistically unlikely.
Yes, it does. It does.
All right. So, do we know when this season's going to end?
I don't think we've had any clues, but you know how they go. They tend to go, next week is the second to last episode, by the way. And it's like, what?
I feel like we're moving more towards a conclusion with a couple of these couples, and it seems like at least there's talk of wedding now for at least Rebecca, Zied, Brandon, Julia, Yara, Jovi. So they're all thinking in a couple weeks.
Yeah, that's true. So at least we're getting there. But the other people aren't even together yet, man. Like not that I hope they get together.
I know,
geez.
Amira, stay away, girl.
Stay away. All right, so we'll be here for however many the more they got. We'll be back every week.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Okay.
All right, bye.
All right, bye.
Good.